speaking out and demanding transparency. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. That's our top story this hour. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring taking their stories to the steps of Congress. They held two separate press conferences saying they will all work together to compile their own Epstein client list if they have to, while also pleading with the DOJ and the White House to release the infamous files.
President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.
And just minutes after Epstein survivors finished detailing their stories of abuse right there at the Capitol, President Trump had this to say in the Oval Office.
It's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Joining me now, White House correspondent Karen Travers, also Justice Department reporter Alex Mallon. So, Karen, we've heard a lot of emotional stories at these press conferences today, but it looks like the president wasn't swayed.
No, I mean, he was meeting with the Polish president at the same time as that press conference was happening up on Capitol Hill, Kira, but he did not want to engage in any questions on this topic when reporters were posing them to him there in the Oval Office. The president repeatedly said that this is a Democrat hoax, but didn't say what exactly about this situation and story is a hoax, and also said that it's completely irrelevant and that reporters should be asking about other things or should be talking about other issues. He said that there should be a discussion about the success that the United States is having right now, not these questions about Jeffrey Epstein. It was notable, Kira, that as the president was calling it a Democrat hoax, there was also that split screen of him on one side of the television and on the other, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene at that press conference talking about these survivors and the push for transparency. So the president dismissing this as the opposition party, but it is, of course, Congressman Thomas Massie right now who is leading this effort to force a vote to release these files, and he is, of course, a Republican.
Follow up with that, Alex. Massie, congressman, Republican, leading the revolt among the GOP over these Epstein files. Let's take a look at what Karen's talking about. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
I think worth noting that the three signers, besides me, to the discharge petition on the Republican side are all women. And these are women taking up for women. Where are the men here in the Republican Party taking up for the victims of sexual abuse? None of them have stepped up.
None of them have stepped up, he says. So do you think Massie's pressure campaign is working on any of his fellow Republicans, Alex?
Well, based on his comments, I don't think he sounds very optimistic. Again, now this is called a discharge petition. What Massie needs is for all 212 Democrats to support it, as well as a handful of Republicans to get to 218. And he just does not seem to have that number at his side at this point. This is obviously facing stiff resistance from House Speaker Mike Johnson, who is vehemently opposed to bringing this bill to the floor. And again, even if it were brought to the floor, it would have 7 days, and then it would need to go past the Senate, and also it would end up on President Trump's desk. And the question is whether he would ever, sign something that would direct his Justice Department to release internal files that they typically would never share that type of information publicly with Congress. So you're seeing this back and forth. It's unclear whether this pressure campaign is going to continue to ramp up. We've heard from these victims today. This, I think, was really about getting them their chance to have a voice in this process, because as of this point, they have been largely shut out of it. We've heard, from 3 separate federal judges when the Justice Department went to try and unseal many Epstein-related files. They excoriated the Justice Department for, in their words, not involving the victims in any way in that process. And as you may recall, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche did sit down with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's no record I'm aware of any Justice Department officials in this building sitting down with any of those victims who we heard on Capitol Hill today, Kira.
So then, Alex, the House Oversight Committee released more than, 30,000 pages of records related to Epstein. But was there anything new in there?
Yeah, we went through this last night. 30,000 or so pages of documents, not categorized in any real comprehensive way, no identifying real indicators on them, but there's really just the vast majority of what we were able to review. It did not really indicate anything in the way of new information. It included things like flight logs, previous exhibits from the Epstein and Maxwell cases that had been made public previously. There was pictures from Epstein's various estates and other materials, but it really was kind of searching for a needle in the haystack, and there was no needle to be found, at least from our initial glance through it. Again, this is just, it seems like an effort by the Justice Department to say it is being cooperative with Congress, but as we've heard from Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, based on their review of the documents, they were given a whole lot of nothing.
All right. Alex Mellon, Karen Travers. Well, there's a whole lot of something definitely going on Capitol Hill today, and we're going to track it all.